June 14th, 2022. Al Manzala Center, Mansoura, Egypt. Picture a hot, ordinary summer night. Then suddenly, quiet shatters.
Yeah, you hear that unmistakable sound of a police siren slicing through the night air, getting closer, and with it, the noise of people gathering, a crowd forming quickly outside this one particular unassuming home.
Police are responding to an emergency call. A really disturbing one.
It came from a young man, just 19, Omer. He was sobbing on the phone, barely coherent.
Begging them to hurry. He said his mother had been killed, and he needed help restraining the killer.
So when investigators get inside, the first thing that hits them is the strangeness of the location itself. It's not a typical house.
No.
The crime scene is this small room kind of tacked onto a garage. It's cluttered, full of car accessory parts, but clearly being used as like a living space too.
And inside, just immediate chaos. Omer, the caller, he's on the ground, semi-conscious, bleeding badly from a head wound.
He'd clearly put up a fight, struck with something sharp while trying to, stop what was happening.
Then the officers see the victim. Haja Narjes al-Sayed, Omer's mother.
She's on the floor, brutally slaughtered. The room is just covered in blood, an absolutely horrific scene.
But then their attention snaps to someone else, a man nearby. Neighbors are holding him down.
He's sitting there, but he seems utterly vacant, like trapped in this profound state of shock, maybe confusion. It's described almost like catatonia.
And here's a moment, the detail that defines this whole case, really.
He's looking up, past the ceiling, talking, clearly talking to someone or something nobody else can see.
What did he say?
He says, "I finished everything required of me." Then his tone shifts, becomes this desperate plea, begging this unseen entity to spare his son and his brother Omer.
That man, the perpetrator, was Mahmoud Moafi.
Haja Narjes' own son.
A man the community knew intimately, not as a killer, but as, a figure of deep faith.
They called him Sheikh Moafi.
And almost overnight, that title morphed into something else across the region. Something chilling that captured the sheer impossibility of it all. The possessed Sheikh.
And that's the core of it, isn't it? The central mystery we're digging into today.
Exactly. How does a man like that, respected, devout, commit the ultimate act of violence against the person he seemed to love most?
We really need to unpack this. Look at the evidence where, frankly, the motives just defy logic, and where public sympathy, remarkably, flowed towards both the victim and the killer.
Okay, so to understand the fall, we have to grasp the heights he fell from. Let's talk about Mahmoud Moafi before all this happened.
Right. He was 39 and, by every measure, successful. Owned his own business, specialized car parts, known for being honest, hardworking. The sources really paint this picture of a deeply trustworthy, established guy in the community.
And the title Sheikh, that wasn't just honorary, was it?
Not at all. He was genuinely devout, had memorized the entire Quran, often led the Fajr prayers, the dawn prayers at the local mosque. He was, like you said earlier, a pillar.
Okay. What about his personal life?
Seemed just as solid, deeply loved his wife and son, and especially his mother, Haja Narjes. We know he insisted she live with them. Not out of obligation, it seems, but because he genuinely wanted to care for her himself. Their bond was reportedly very strong, very affectionate.
So, a solid foundation by all accounts.
Yeah.
Where did the cracks start to show?
It seems to begin with this growing, almost obsessive fear. Despite his strong faith, he became deeply paranoid about sorcery and hasad, the evil eye, envy. He felt constantly under threat, always trying these protective measures.
And this wasn't just a mental fear, right? It started manifesting physically.
Exactly.
Right.
That's the next crucial step. He started seeing things, hearing voices or sounds that weren't there. He'd mention it, did you see that or did you hear that? And the family would say no, they saw nothing.
That must have been terrifying for him. Isolating.
Absolutely. And then came the physical symptoms, strange convulsions, these unexplained spasms started happening.
And there was a very specific description he gave.
Yes. He talked about constantly feeling this immense heavy weight on his shoulders. His words were as if someone was sitting on him. Debilitating.
Wow. So you have this devout man, successful, suddenly plagued by these fears, these visions, these physical burdens.
Right. And that combination, his faith, his fear of spiritual attack, and these undeniable physical things happening, it created this powerful belief for him and his family that this wasn't just, a standard medical problem.
They believed it was something external, something malicious taking hold.
Precisely. And that feeling, that presence, it didn't stay internal. The unseen force, as he perceived it, started giving commands.
Okay, this is where it really shifts from inner turmoil to potential danger.
It does. One day, he describes hearing this clear voice telling him to go up to the roof of his house. When he got there, the voice was explicit. It commanded him, "You must kill your son."
Oh my God.
He said he fought against it, this overwhelming, terrifying urge. And that day, somehow, he managed to suppress it. But the struggle was clearly escalating.
And it didn't stay private for long, did it? There was that incident at the mosque.
That's right. His first major public breakdown. Right there, in the mosque, surrounded by people who respected him. He had a massive convulsion, started speaking out loud, directly addressing these unseen things, begging them publicly to leave him alone.
That must have cemented it for the community.
Completely. That was the turning point. For everyone watching, there was no doubt. He wasn't just sick, he was, in their eyes, the possessed sheikh.
So the family's desperate now. Where do they turn?
And this is where you see that clash, that tension. They tried two very different paths for help.
Medicine first.
Yes. His wife, understandably, pushed him to see a psychiatrist. He underwent a full examination.
And the result?
This is critical. The doctor concluded Mahmoud was mentally and physically healthy. No identifiable psychological illness, no clinical diagnosis they could offer.
Even though Mahmoud was apparently talking to unseen people during the examination.
Exactly. The doctor acknowledged the behavior but couldn't fit it into a known diagnostic box, which, in some ways, is almost worse, isn't it?
Yeah, it leaves this terrifying void. If medicine says you're fine, but you're clearly not, what then?
So with no answers from science, they turned to faith. They sought out a sheikh who specialized in ruqyah.
Explain ruqyah briefly.
It's a practice within Islam, essentially a spiritual healing or exorcism, using specific Quranic verses and supplications to treat ailments believed to be caused by jinn, sorcery, or the evil eye. It's a formal, intense process.
And what did this specialist say?
He assessed Mahmoud and immediately said the case was very late and difficult. He recognized the severity straight away.
What happened during the session?
It was apparently quite violent. Mahmoud suffered intense convulsions, thrashing around, and crucially, he started shouting out these strange names.
Names?
Yes. And the sheikh performing the ruqyah, the spiritual guide, confirmed them. He said, yes, those are names associated with the jinn.
So for the family, that must have felt like confirmation.
Absolutely. You have the psychiatrist saying, we don't know, he seems healthy, and the spiritual expert saying, yes, this is possession and it's serious. The debate for them was essentially over.
They were convinced he was fighting some kind of demonic influence.
And that's the tragedy you have to remember. He believed he was in a fight for his very soul. And the voice, this presence, it didn't let up. It continued its manipulative campaign.
Which brings us to that terrible day, June 14th.
The voice returned. Same demand, kill your son.
But then it changed.
Instantly. Almost like psychological torture. It switched tactics, telling him falsely that it was too late, that his brother, Omer, had already killed the son.
God, the panic he must have felt.
He raced downstairs, frantic, found his son alive, unharmed. Omer was there, saw his brother's state, managed to talk him down, calm him, just for a moment, convinced him to try and rest.
But the calm didn't last.
No. Almost immediately, the voice came back.
Yeah.
With the final, fatal command.
Kill his mother, Haja Narjes. And what happened next is, it's just profoundly disturbing.
It is. Because there's this remnant of the man he was. He finds his mother praying, and he waits. He actually waits patiently for her to finish her prayers.
Then he attacked her.
His first attempt was with a pillow, trying to suffocate her. It failed. She fought back.
And during the struggle,
this is where that unnatural strength emerges again.
Yeah.
The family witnessed it. He pushed his wife and his brother Omer aside with ease, effortlessly, dragging his mother, fighting him, downstairs towards the garage room.
And the family described his appearance changing.
They did. Powerful testimony later. They said his eyes, his whole demeanor were completely different, unfamiliar, alien, cold. It wasn't the Mahmoud they knew looking back at them.
And then, in that cluttered garage space,
he grabbed a tool from the workshop clutter, a cutter, and he slit his mother's throat.
The final unthinkable act.
Yes. And the immediate aftermath is almost as shocking as the act itself. The moment it was done, the aggression just vanished. He dropped the weapon, sat down on the floor next to his mother's body, completely disoriented again, seemingly unable to comprehend what had just happened. That's the state the police found him in, that catatonic confusion.
So the investigation begins, and the police are facing, well, a nightmare scenario.
Absolutely. From a legal standpoint, where's the motive? No inheritance disputes, no money problems, no history of arguments or conflict, nothing.
He killed the person he seemed most devoted to protecting, the woman everyone said he adored.
Because of the bizarre nature of it all, the eyewitness accounts of his state, he was quickly transferred, sent to a mental and neurological hospital for extended observation. 2 months.
And the conclusion from the hospital, after 2 months of intense study.
This is the second finding that just fuels the entire controversy. The doctors came back with the same conclusion as the first psychiatrist.
No psychological illness.
None that they could identify. They deemed him mentally capable, legally responsible for his actions.
So based on that medical green light, legally speaking,
He was charged with premeditated murder and subsequently sentenced to death.
but the story doesn't end there. The community reaction was significant, wasn't it?
Huge, overwhelming public sympathy for Mahmoud. The local community largely didn't accept the verdict. They insisted he wasn't evil, he was afflicted, he lost control.
And this public pressure, this belief in his, well, lack of culpability, it led to action.
It did. A lawyer took on the case pro bono, specifically to appeal the death sentence. The grounds were essentially this loss of conscious control, arguing he wasn't himself when it happened.
Then came the appeal hearing. December 12th, 2024. Mahmoud spoke.
Yes, and his statement to the judge was reportedly incredibly moving, tearful. It really cemented that public empathy.
What did he say?
Things like, if I intended to kill my mother, I would not speak a word. And he described her role in his life. She was my mother, father, sister, daughter, and wife. She was my heaven on this earth. Powerful words.
How did the defense approach this legally, given the medical findings?
It was complex. Firstly, a major factor. His siblings, including Omer, who he'd injured, formally waived their right to retribution. In that legal system, that carries immense weight against a death sentence.
Okay.
Secondly, the defense argued that, look, while the law doesn't officially recognize jinn possession or sir as a defense, you have to look at the totality of the evidence. The unnatural strength witnessed by multiple people, the complete change in his eyes and demeanor, the utter lack of any rational motive. They argued it all pointed to some kind of external force or break causing a total loss of control, even if medicine couldn't label it.
And the court's decision?
They listened. The judge ultimately commuted the death sentence to life imprisonment. Crucially, the ruling acknowledged this case as one of the most unusual, most baffling crimes in Egyptian judicial history. The decision itself was a recognition that something extraordinary, something perhaps unexplainable by standard legal or medical terms, had occurred.
So we're left with this profound, unsettling ambiguity.
Stark ambiguity. You have this successful, respected, deeply religious man who commits the most horrific crime imaginable against his own mother.
Was it, as many believed, a case of profound spiritual possession, something beyond the reach of modern medicine?
Or was it some incredibly rare, complex form of psychological breakdown, something that manifested with such bizarre physical symptoms that it simply didn't fit into any existing psychiatric category, and so it slipped through the diagnostic net?
If we step back and think about the implications.
Well, the courts compromised life imprisonment instead of death. It really highlights the tightrope legal systems walk, doesn't it? When they're confronted with defenses that lean on factors outside, typical material evidence, like spiritual affliction or a complete inexplicable break from reality.
It raises some fundamental questions for us, for you listening.
What does free will even mean when you have credible eyewitnesses describing seemingly supernatural strength and a complete personality shift? When the person themselves is pleading that they were not in control?
The court basically acknowledged the extreme unusualness of the situation. They said, okay, this wasn't a standard murder.
Right. So in a case like that where the legal system itself recognizes something profoundly abnormal happened, where do you draw the line? Where does legal responsibility end, and where does the possibility of some other influence, spiritual or psychological, but utterly overwhelming, begin?
It's a case that forces us to confront the very boundaries of human control, belief, and what happens when those boundaries seem to shatter.